Hello everyone, welcome to my vlog. First of all, I would like to say big thank you to F-Stoppers. They basically feature one of my headshots yesterday on their website and on their Instagram, which I'm really thankful and I'm really appreciate what you guys have done. I didn't expect that at all. There's so many other amazing headshot photographers, and by you guys choosing me and then feature one of those images, that really means worlds to me. And I would like to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for featuring that image. It really means a lot to me, and I don't even have words to describe how excited I am and how happy I am. So thank you guys for your kindness and for everything what you guys have been doing for me. And at the same time, I would like to say also big thank you to few guys who really inspires me, people who really helped me to get where I am today. And you guys probably know who you are. Dylan Patrick, Christian Webb, and Peter Harley. You guys are my heroes, and I would like to also say thank you for basically inspiring me and teaching me and giving me tips, advice. So I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't be featured on F-Stoppers without your help and your input into my work. So I would like to share that success with you guys, because you guys made me photographer who I want to be always. All my life I was trying to reach that level, and because of you guys I am where I am today, and I would like to share that with you guys as well. So thank you so much. So on today's vlog, I would like to talk about something which I'm receiving a lot of requests to talk about it, and I would like to chat today about softboxes. A lot of people asking me what kind of softboxes are you using and why are you using them. And there's a lot of questions related to that, so I'd like to dedicate this entire vlog to all those softboxes. And then there's so much out there these days, so I'm not going to be able to cover everything, but I would like to share with you the stuff what I'm using, and show you also some other options which are available out there. And also I'll try to explain you why I'm using what I'm using today, because that's something which also people have to have a little more information about it, because over the last 6-7 years I've been changing a lot of gear, because you basically hear some of those things that okay, this is what you should have, and then when you actually put some of those stuff into your workflow and in your photo shoots, then there's kind of disappointment coming in which you have to deal with, and then when you have to kind of step by step adjust everything, so the stuff what you're using they working for you. So there's few things which I would like to start with. So whenever I use Softbox, there's few important factors which I'm looking at. So let me kind of go through this first, and then I'll show you some of the options and then some of the stuff what I've been using. So the first thing what I'm actually looking at is the quality of the actual product. So as you probably know, as I said, there's tons of stuff out there. There's stuff in softboxes which are really well made, and there's some softboxes which they kind of look nice, but as far the quality, that's something which sometimes is questionable in my opinion. And this is something what I'm actually looking at, because the way I work, unfortunately I don't have my own studio yet, and basically it's important for me that I can take certain softboxes, put it up and take it down in, first of all, no time. And I know that after a few of those crazy weeks or months, this product's not gonna fall apart, and then I have to buy basically another one. So that's something which is really important for me, and I always look at the quality of product, and I want to make sure that whatever I buy is gonna last as long as it's possible, and it's never gonna fail me and disappoint me, and I'm not gonna have to kind of buy another softbox in the next few months. So this is one of those factors which is important for me. Another thing is practicality. So this is what I actually just touched a few seconds ago. It's important for me so I can, take this equipment down and put it up in like literally no time. If you have one shoot a day, then it's a different story, or you have a studio where you can actually have everything set it up, then it's much easier. But if let's say you have that kind of intensity as far as the photo shoot goes, where sometimes I have 2-3 photo shoots a day, and it's important for me that I can take those stuff and then fairly no time, put it up, take it down, and just basically run to my next photo shoot. Another thing is something which some people don't really think about until it actually hits them, is traveling. These days, unfortunately, a lot of us have to travel, and we have to take our gear with us. So having bulky and big equipment, or some soft boxes which have like enormous sizes, sometimes it's tricky. So you have to have equipment which you can put it in some kind of bag, or this takes down to some small pieces, and you can pack it and then take it with you. And I'll show you some stuff what I've been using, and that's what the kind of problems I had with those stuff. And I'll explain, and I'll share you actually some really funny stories. But that's something what also you have to consider buying soft boxes, because this is something which sooner or later is going to hit you, and you have to go somewhere, and then you're like, okay, what I'm going to do now, because I cannot pack this stuff with me. Another thing which is super important, but I know sometimes we actually go too far with this, is the quality of light coming out of this soft boxes. And the good thing is that there's a lot of things which we can actually fix in Photoshop. So it's not a big concern for me, because the quality of light, you can always tweak it in Photoshop and make it look a little bit better. But overall, we kind of have different soft boxes which we like better, or there's some things which we don't like as much. The one thing what I want to also mention here is the size of the soft boxes, because bigger soft boxes give us much softer light, and it wraps the person much nicer. So this is something what is important for me, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. But as far as the quality of light, as I said, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because if we have certain tones, or there is some yellowish colors or something like that, that's not of a big of a deal these days, because we can really easy fix those stuff. And the last thing is, of course, something which we always look at, is the price. Again, there's things which, unfortunately, when it comes to quality and the practicality, that comes with the price. We cannot really kid ourselves. That's the way it works these days. For much better quality stuff, we pay more. For some stuff which are both cheaper way, or they're not as good quality, we pay less. But then we have to also some kind of figure it out, what kind of work we do, where are we doing. If we're having studio and you can set it up stuff permanently, then it's much easier, because those lights, they will last much longer. If you're running like me, where you have to take stuff apart all the time and then throw them, travel with them, then it's, in my opinion, worth it to spend a little bit of extra money on some of those soft boxes. So you have to just literally sit down and figure out what you're gonna do with this equipment, and you have to just kind of prioritize what is important for you, and then basically make a decision. The difference with the prices is fairly significant, because you're looking from $100 to about $600. So if you have that money and you're doing a lot of work, this is going to pay you off really soon. If you, let's say, starting off and you don't have huge budget, I would definitely just start with something cheaper, and then as soon as you will build up your clientele, and you build up your portfolio, and you build up the cash flow, then it's not going to be big of a deal to spend $600 on the softboxes. Okay, so let's jump into the actual softboxes. So as you guys probably know, I use mainly these days deep octa made from Rotalux, and as I said, those lights, the softboxes, they're really good quality. I really like them because, let's say this is the small one. There comes with two sizes. There's 27 inches and 39 inches. So the big one, I don't have actually set up the big one because that would be just taking too much space. So this small one I'm using for the kicker light, and the big one I'm using for the main light. And there's a few things what I really like about those lights. First of all, the quality. This one I have for about 5-6 years now, and I'm not lying to you, this whole thing looks like brand new. There's nothing what is happening to those lights. Good fabric, good quality, everything is really put together really good way that it's you cannot really again destroy those things, because it's a fantastic materials, and it's really nicely put together. Another thing what I really like about those lights, they're giving me, actually there's like few things which I really like about them. That's what makes them makes those soft boxes a little bit better. As you guys can see, there's one layer on the top, there's another layer which is actually inside, and you can actually soften the light even more. Some of those other soft boxes, they don't really have that, so that's, I would say, some bonus. For the females, whenever I'm shooting them, I'm using 2 layers because that's giving me much softer light. For the guys, I'm using only 1. And there is another option with this, which is some little, actually I'm not using this much, I use that just a few times. This little like a cover which you can put on like inside, and that's gonna work as a beauty dish, and then the results are fantastic. So again, they're fairly expensive. They're about $300 for the small one, and I think that there's about $600 for the big one. So if you want to buy both of them new, you're looking about $1,000 to spend. But I can assure you that you will use them forever. Like, there is no way you can destroy them. Of course, if you're gonna just rip them apart, but if you're gonna work with them the way you should work with them, they're gonna last for many years, and there will be no issues with them whatsoever. And another thing which I really like about them, you can actually just break them into the pieces, and you can put them in this little baggie, which you can actually put in your luggage, and then you can travel with them like everywhere. And yeah, it's pretty convenient, it's pretty well made, and that would I would definitely recommend those for those guys who planning to do this professionally. And I really I'm happy with them, and again, travel a lot, never had any issues with even traveling. And I'll tell you about some other options which is kind of tricky to travel with, but those are the lights I have to say my top option, but that comes with the price, so you have to kind of make a decision what works best for you. Okay, so now I would like to show you some cheaper options and some cheaper versions, but there's some inconvenience with this, and you guys can also think about it and tell me what you guys think. So the other option is, this is another company which makes soft boxes. It's called Illumi. Really nice soft boxes. This is the small one. There's another actually sheet coming up on the front which soften the light. This is actually it's one of the smallest sizes, and I used to use that as a kicker light, and I have the big one for the main light. Those guys, they're also really well made. I really like them, but there's few things which I actually didn't like it, and then I'll tell you what it is. Well, first of all, when you actually just put them together, they turn into this little triangle. So this one is a small light, small soft box. So this one was really easy to travel with, but I had another one which was much bigger and was like, I would say, double size of this, and there's no way I could put that into my luggage. Just basically they came into this little baggie, which was much bigger, and having carry-on was always an issue, and I just simply gave up on those guys because yeah, the traveling was pretty well, impossible, like literally. With the small one was a different story, but the big one, there's no way. And another thing which I didn't really like about those lights is this little actually thingy which you put on the back, and then you actually just mounted your speed light to it. And the main reason I didn't really like it, as you guys can probably see here, I don't know if it's gonna show you or not, there's a little bit of kind of spring here which you attach your speed light, and I was always have issues with this because the speed light was like, you know, rumbling here, and then, you know, you couldn't really fit it, and then destroying this plastic thing on the speed light. Another thing which I didn't like, there's a little kind of screw here which holds this light, and sometimes this whole thing got loose, and I didn't have like the proper you know, screwdriver to kind of tighten it up, and sometimes I had to just like literally use duct tape to hold this. It's not a big of an issue, but whenever you know, like you're doing a shoot and you actually in a rush, and you want to make this stuff work fairly quick, and you want to put it together, those little things which just doesn't work, absolutely drives me nuts. Maybe, I don't know, my personality, but I like to get to the shoot, get my stuff ready, and just focus on the shoot. I don't really want to deal with some little screw which actually got loosened, and then, you know, your light is just like wobbling all over the place, and then you're getting frustrated, the client getting frustrated. And those guys who design those things, they should really think this through, and then make sure that whatever they put something like this together should be solid and should be like made the way that, you know, you get to the shoot, you put it up, you tighten it up, and then you just ready to go. So those are the little things which I didn't like. Those lights were fairly cheaper. You're looking for about $100 for the little one, and about a couple hundred, or like $250 for the big one. So there's significant difference into the price, but again, there's few things which didn't work for me, especially whenever if you're traveling a little bit, then might be a little bit of issue. And those little things, there was something which drives me crazy, but I know there's people who are more patient, and they can figure out some kind of ways to make this work properly. But in my opinion, this little thing should be designed a little bit better, but that's just in my opinion. Okay, so let's go to the last option, and this is something which, in my opinion, a lot of photographers forget about it, and they don't actually, well, even consider this whole thing to use it. And actually, I'm talking about the beauty dish, and this is something where you can get for, I'm not lying, about $60 to about $100, and it also comes with different sizes, and works perfectly. Beautiful light coming out of this. This particular beauty dish is made by Elinchrom, and that comes with like a little material which actually you can put on the front to even soften the light. When you're shooting, let's say the guys, you can use just beauty dish itself. It's gonna give you a little more harsh light, but still beautiful light. And again, fairly cheap, but there's no way you can like travel with this, because you're not gonna be actually, well, I actually traveled with this once overseas. I had so many issues that you wouldn't believe. Basically, I was caught in customs. They tried to, well, figure out what the hell it is. The guy thought it's like some kind of satellite dish. I had to explain them. They had to just put special report. Took so much time. It was craziness. So, yeah, you know, it's a tricky thing. This is fairly like a medium size. Whenever you would have a bigger size, that would be much big of a deal to travel with this. But some photographers, they do. So it's something which you have to, well, figure out what works for you. Really cheap option. But you know, I deeply believe that those beauty dishes, they're great if you have a studio and you have your own place where you don't have to just move around. For me, again, if I would have to just run around the city with this, like, you know, deep frying pan, that would be kind of sometimes inconvenient and you know, tricky, and you know, like I like my stuff to be handy and just, you know, I can grab them and go. So with this kind of stuff, might be a little more difficult. So, but again, it's fairly cheap, beautiful light, and works perfectly for the headshots. And the last option and the last thing what I would like to talk about, and this is about the kicker light. And I also think that sometimes you don't really have to buy expensive softbox for have a kicker light. And there's a company which is called Roach. This is this little guy, and you actually can mount it on the speed light. They also comes with different grids, as you can see, so you can actually pick up the option which will work best for you, and you can actually just mount it on the back, and the light's going to be shooting from the back, and it's going to work as well as softbox. So especially with those places where it's really tight and there's no way you can actually put some kind of big softbox on the back, then this guy was always kind of rescue from me and works really well. So I highly recommend it. And that was like, I don't know, $30 or something like that. So it was really cheap. Also, it was really well made, so that's gonna last you forever. And try it. I always have this little guy with me because I always know if there was some issues with space, there's some issues with location, or there's wind or something where I simply can't use big softbox, then I use this little guy. I even know there's some photographers who use that as a kind of main light, believe it or not, and the effects are fairly cool. So I would highly recommend it to take a, you know, closer look at this and see what you can do with this. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any additional questions or there's something which I didn't cover, please feel free to email me, to call me. Well, you guys can call me anytime, actually. Shoot me a message. I will be more than happy to respond to all your questions, all your concerns. I hope I covered this fairly well, but I'm sure there will be some additional questions. So I'm looking forward to your feedback and looking forward to your some information which also can help me to, maybe I didn't say something which I should say. So again, I hope that was some informative stuff for you guys. I would like to wish you guys fantastic week, a lot of photo shoots, and I hope I'll hear from you fairly soon. And I'll be working on another vlog which will be even more interesting, and yeah, it will be really cool stuff coming up. So stay tuned. Again, have a fantastic week, and I will chat with you guys very soon.